Senator Obama continues to be slammed for his association with Bill Ayers, but not everyone has bad things to say about the Weather Underground co-founder. About 3,000 educators have signed a petition supporting the radical Ayers. Why? Well, let's ask. Join us live is Dr. Alan Singer, a professor from Hofstra, who signed the petition supporting Ayers. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Greta. Thank you for having me.
How do you know Bill Ayers?
Well, Bill Ayers is a very prominent educational professor in the United States. I've worked with him for about 20 years at the American Educational Research Association, where he is one of the leading spokespeople for educational reform.
Do you know Senator Obama?
No, I've never met Senator Obama. I'm not involved in his campaign in any way.
Now, in terms of Bill Ayers, when was the last time you talked to him or saw him?
Well, the last time I saw Bill Ayers was over 2 years ago. I was in email contact with him during the summer. He actually helped me get a book published, New York and Slavery, Time to Teach the Truth by SUNY Press. But when this whole issue broke out, I tried to reach him through his university, but he's on leave, and the university could not connect me.
So you haven't spoken to him either? You said you emailed him, but you haven't spoken to him at all lately?
No, I could not get through to him.
How did you get sort of connected with this? Whose idea was it to put this list together, 3,000?
I'm not sure. Though many of the prominent educational professors from the American Educational Research Association have signed it. And I guess the reason is Bill Ayers is a very responsible and well-known educator in the United States. In Chicago, he was voted Citizen of the Year in 1997 for his work in promoting reform in urban and minority communities, which are issues that are very important to me.
You know, you say that he's responsible as Citizen of the Year, and I tell you that just about, a lot of people cringe to hear you say that, because as recently as 2001, he said, "I don't regret setting bombs. I feel we didn't do enough." Okay. So it's hard for me to think, if he had said at that time, I was so young and it was so wrong and I'm so sorry, but he's not saying that. So it's hard for me to think of him as Citizen of the Year.
Well, Greta, two different ideas are collapsed in that quote, and they're collapsed incorrectly. He did say he didn't regret setting the bombs. I disagreed with him in the Weather Underground 40 years ago. I was an anti-war activist. I didn't participate. I thought they were wrong. I disagree with that now. But when he says we didn't do enough, many activists who opposed the war felt we didn't do enough to stop the war. It went on for over 10 years, and the American foreign policy today has engaged the United States in 2 wars that have been responsible for the death of over 4,000 American soldiers and over 100,000 Iraqis. So a lot of us feel we haven't done enough.
So, wait a second. I feel we didn't do enough. You agree with that?
We did not do enough to change American foreign policy.
Where do you get the rest of that quote? Because I don't have that in the quote. Is that just what you're reading into it? Because that's not what I have. Maybe I have an incomplete one. And,
yes.
And I know I've gone after CNN for getting it wrong. So tell me, do you have more of a quote? Did I copy that wrong?
No, the quote was from the New York Times. Bill Ayers had published a book. He was promoting the book. Again, he said some things I don't agree with, but the thrust of his idea was that activists were unsuccessful in ending the war and changing American foreign policy.
But you agree that's not what it says here. At least you're.
Right, that's not what it said in the Times. But that's not what he said, as far as I can tell.
Chicago's a big city. There are a lot of people doing a lot of really great things. He's Citizen of the Year in spite of
by Mayor Daley, the son of the Mayor Daley who attacked him.
Well, they have a sort of a unique standard in Chicago right now, apparently.
I can't speak to that. I live in New York.
Has Bill Ayers ever spoken to you about Senator Obama?
No, our relationship is not on that level. What we spoke about was educational reform and improving minority schools. And also, again, he did help me publish that book.
And I take it that you condemn his words and you condemn his activity about setting bombs, and he didn't feel it enough.
I never supported violence of that way. I didn't support it 40 years ago. I don't support it now. But I do support someone who has championed educational reform for the last 20 years.
But it doesn't bother you. He's never said, "I'm sorry, it was wrong," and instead says something profoundly different. In fact, he says just the opposite. That doesn't bother you?
You'll have to speak to him about that.
Got it. All right. Thank you, Dr. Singer.
Thank you very much.